Ukraine's LGBTQ soldiers are still fighting and still waiting. That's the headline from a New York Times guest essay by Ukrainian poet and professor Alex Averbuch, who teaches Ukrainian literature and culture at the University of Michigan. He writes that LGBTQ Ukrainians in uniform risk their lives for the state, but if they're wounded or killed, their partners are legal strangers in the eyes of that state. In 2023, the European Court of Human Rights ruled that Ukraine's lack of legal recognition for same-sex couples is discriminatory and violates the right to private and family life. A bill to create registered partnerships was introduced that year, but it remains stuck in Parliament. The legal gap has always been unbearable. The war with Russia seemed as though it would make that disparity untenable. Surely, queer soldiers visibly defending the nation from the front would render the hypocrisy of Ukrainian law too obvious to sustain. But the gap remains. LGBTQ Ukrainians in uniform sometimes wear a unicorn patch, a wry response to claims that there are no gays in the Ukrainian military. They volunteer, pay taxes, evacuate civilians and mourn. Some have been wounded, some killed. At Kyiv Pride last month, marchers carried photographs of LGBTQ soldiers killed in action alongside rainbow flags and banners. The argument is simple: those soldiers' partners waited through the same nights as other partners, feared the same calls and carried the same grief. Do they not then have the same right to stand beside a hospital bed? To receive medical information or make decisions in a crisis? To arrange a burial, inherit property, receive benefits? Some argued that the war should postpone these questions. Rather, it has made them impossible to postpone. In the first months after Russia's full-scale invasion, a petition urging the Ukrainian government to consider registered partnerships received enough support to trigger a parliamentary debate. The Registered Partnership Bill was introduced. But the bill stalled. Opponents argued that there are more important things to discuss, that sexuality is private, that pride is a masquerade, that the state should not interfere with love, that Ukraine should first win the war and then talk about rights. Early this year, a new draft of the Civil Code was proposed that would continue to define the family unit as a different-sex partnership, explicitly exclude same-sex families and automatically annul a marriage if one of the spouses legally changed gender. Beneath these arguments lies a clear demand that LGBTQ people exist only quietly, without visibility, without legal recognition, without family status and without a place in the national story. In March, a Supreme Court ruling recognized a same-sex couple as a family under Ukrainian law. But the bill that would exclude such couples continued its advance in April, despite criticism from human rights groups and despite its incompatibility with membership in the European Union, which Ukraine aspires to join. That's the picture Averbuch paints: a country where queer citizens bleed for a nation that still refuses to see their families as real. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, and we'll be back soon with more.